Welcome to Utah Stories. So, if you've been to downtown and you see what's happening, this complete demolition of all the small local buildings and being replaced by giant, big corporate development, it feels like the entire soul and the structure of local Utah in downtown Salt Lake City is being sucked out of the city. The lifeblood, we've contended for years at Utah Stories, is small, independent, local businesses. And you suck out the lifeblood, what do you really have left in a city? You have a shell. We don't want to have downtown Salt Lake City be an empty, desolate shell of giant corporations. So with me on the program today is someone who really represents the heart and soul of downtown Salt Lake City. She has been a small business entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur for the last 17 years, is that right?
20 years.
20 years. Yeah, an amazing amount of time and an amazing number of businesses. Kathie Chadbourne, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Rich. I'm delighted to be here with Utah Stories. I am.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you. This is a really important conversation, I think, because I went to Dallas a few years back, and I tried to find the local part of Dallas. It could be it's nowhere to be found in the central business district. I couldn't find anything that felt local. How do we prevent Salt Lake City from turning into this just giant corporate conglomerate of big business and a place for elites instead of a place for people who want to start local business and incubate their businesses?
That's such a big question, such a loaded question, and what is the answer? I know I think about that all day long. My little place is located in what I consider the real heart of Salt Lake City on East Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
That place is changing so much rapidly around us. Just over a year and a half ago, I walked across the street with one of the supervisors for the Layton Wheel O'Neill skyscraper project. And I opened my door the day that they started that project. That project is where Utah Dene Bakea was, all these little tiny cute little local businesses. And I felt so fortunate that I was able to get on the east side of Henry's dry cleaners because there was still a small section of Greektown left.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a small section.
And it's like Broadway has always been this local enclave full of such cool little shops and
little
small
art
buildings.
Spaces.
And we saw like the Tabernacle block get demolished, and now it's a big skyrise.
Right. People's Coffee had to move around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just changed the whole dynamic.
But urban gentrification is nothing new. That's just
sure.
a pattern that happens, and then the cheap rent areas move further and further out. But it just seems like in a downtown central business district, if it's completely absent of locals, and that's where people are congregating and coming from all over the world to visit, what's going to be the draw and appeal where is the heart and the soul of the city going to be?
Where is the gathering? Where are the gathering places? And, it's kind of odd. When I first opened up from the ground up, people were asking, this will be a great little place to gather. And in my mind, it's a little retail shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like a light went off. This is much more than a little retail spot. People want to gather. And it's great that we can go around the corner. But for our little neighborhood, it's a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a wreck. We've got some wonderful businesses in there. Lena's been there with Happy Nails for 20 years. The barber shop right on the other side of me has been there for 8 years.
They're doing
really
amazingly
cool.
well.
They're doing very well. And we've got the Jitterbug, we've got Deontay's, we've got Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for small businesses. But we have a 32-story skyscraper built right there towering over us. It really does shake me that we're losing so much of our heritage. It's like an old way. And what is the new way? We're all scrambling, trying to figure out what that might be.
Yeah.
What is the new way?
Yeah.
These skyscrapers towering over us, blocking out the sunlight when we're already in the mountains.
And then your basic, restaurant scene is no owner operators.
That's
it's just
right.
some corporate idea that
Yeah.
that they'll they designed on some computer,
Right.
and then they design the script that somebody's going to say when a customer walks in.
And then
No, there's no ownership.
Yeah,
It's
and then
like,
there's
what is that?
then there's something like AI telling people how to write it, how to say it, how to do it. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
it's
everybody. I mean,
really-
are we just trying to set ourselves up to become automatons, just little robots, mind lemmings?
I wonder.
I just
wonder,
don't know.
but I refuse. I totally refuse.
That's
And
good. Got to
I
rage
wanna
against the machine.
Yeah, and we are.
Yeah.
We really are. People are coming, in downtown, just in front of our shops, these few little shops, there's no place to park. There's a compliance officer nailing everybody constantly, and nobody knows how. The machines are sometimes broken.
A compliance officer.
Yeah,
That's
parking.
not. Oh, that's a parking
for the
enforcement.
parking
Oh, yeah.
situation, which is really crazy.
Mhm.
It's almost like we have to rely on, walkability. Well, that doesn't exist on East Broadway.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist for our businesses. People have to drive in,
Mhm.
and
Well, it
it's-
goes back to I think I met you. Was it the Broadway Deli?
right
you
across
came,
the street
Yeah,
from
right
where I
across
am
from where you are now.
during the gallery
you
strolls.
came in to basically make the Broadway Deli a really cool, viable business again,
Right.
and especially promote the deli side of things.
Right.
And you had a mural painted up on the wall, and you just created this sort of gathering place like
Right,
you've
we
been
did.
able to do.
We did.
And it's like that was they ended up closing after what they'd been around for 100 years or something like
and
that.
the reason they closed the market was because Harmon's was coming in around the corner. Now Harmon's, it's great. Harmon's is local. But that's a big, big market.
Mhm.
And what was at that spot at the Broadway Pharmacy and Market was a 100-year-old local family business.
Mhm.
And it's, things change. It's still in the hands of the Soterio family, which is wonderful. But things change, and the son, Michael, is now taking over for Leo. People have passed. Things are changing so quickly.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that they're still there as a local business. But they're waiting for people to come in and rent the front. It's parking is rented out to all the latent construction people. There have been 450 people working on that corner project on 2nd East and 3rd South. 450 construction people that are absolutely wonderful. They've struggled with parking. They struggle with food, where they go for lunch. And it's really difficult to watch. And at the same time, these are people working hard for their families. They need their jobs. They love their jobs. They love their work.
Mhm.
And it's pushing everybody else out. Local people that live across the street at the Broadway Tower are looking for spaces to rent for their vehicles. They've
Right.
asked me, they go to Lizzie at Henry's and try to rent spaces over there. Why? Because the corporate has bought out all the parking spaces for their employees, which is great. They sometimes have to van them in.
Mhm.
And so it's nuts.
No, that
It's
is.
like there's no
So they've
planning.
literally already pushed them out before they're even done
Right,
building because
right.
they've taken up all the parking.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so change is inevitable. Change is difficult. But this kind of change being thrown at us, my business isn't even 2 years old yet. And I don't know how many people have come in with parking tickets saying, I was there for 5 minutes or whatever. It's just been very hard on the local people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed when I was in your shop that you had a guy who lives right next door who seems to come in all the time, really cool guy. And it really is a gathering place. And it really has this spirit of people just talking about things. And it was cool. We saw your was it your nephew with a person he was dating for the first time just stopping in to say
That's
hello.
right. Yeah.
It's just like this community spirit. It feels like it's unfortunate that it just feels like it's becoming something of the past, and you just can't really feel that so much anymore.
It feels very different. Just to have my grandchildren in the shop is a worry.
Yeah.
because of the homeless.
And we'll talk about
difficult.
homelessness and that whole situation. But my question is, we know that's valuable, you and I, and all your neighbors and everybody. But how do you convey that to a state legislature or a city council or a mayor who are just looking at spreadsheets and all the numbers, and they're realizing, well, they're only getting $20 a square foot for that space right now. Mm-hmm. If we tear that down, not only can we get the property tax revenue up above, mm-hmm. but we could get $40 a square foot for the retail down below. How do you quantify local community spirit and small business incubation to people like that who run our city and state?
I think it's impossible. I hate to say that.
Yeah, you just can't quantify that value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the sad thing, because I wish they would all watch this mm-hmm. and visit your shop. It's called From the Ground Up, an amazing little shop. It's like a museum. And if you go check it out, it's like the different parts of your shop that pay homage to the mining industry and then have these incredible rocks. It's just an awesome place you've built.
Thank you. Come and see me.
Yeah. So we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the homeless situation in downtown in the second segment. And in the third segment, we're going to get into Kathie's entire story, how and why she started from the ground up. So we'll be right back.